You hit the gym on Monday. You push your chest hard, proper effort, proper weight. By Wednesday morning, you cannot reach across a table without flinching. 3 days gone. Meanwhile, somewhere in Coronado, a Navy SEAL candidate during the Basic Underwater Demolition /SEAL, or BUD/S, just finished his third push-up block of the day. Same thing tomorrow. Same thing the day after. The gap between those two realities is not genetics. It is not willpower. It is one physiological principle that commercial fitness culture buried. And once you understand it, nothing about how you train will look the same. Here is what most people assume. Soreness means the session worked. No soreness means you did not push hard enough. That assumption is not physiology. It is a sales pitch that became doctrine. The military did not have the luxury of building training programs around recovery mythology. Operators needed to perform underload tomorrow, not next week. So instead of chasing damage, they built programs around avoiding it. 2 myths, fast. Myth 1. Muscle must be damaged to grow. False. Damage and adaptation are not the same event. Damage can trigger adaptation, but it also delays the next training session by 48 to 72 hours. If you remove the damage, you can train again the next morning. That is not a theory. That is the operating logic behind one of the most demanding physical selection programs on Earth. Myth 2, soreness is proof that something worked. Also false. Soreness is a symptom of structural disruption at the cellular level. It tells you where the body was overwhelmed. It does not tell you where it grew stronger. Those are different locations on 2 different timelines. Here is the mechanism. Pay attention here. Every push-up has 2 phases. You push up, you lower down. The lowering phase is where the problem lives. When a muscle lengthens under load, the individual units inside the fiber, called sarcomeres, do not all lengthen at the same rate. The weakest ones get pulled past their stable operating range. At high enough loads, they fail. Prosky and Morgan documented this in detail in the Journal of Physiology in 2001. They called it sarcomer disruption. It is the biological mechanism behind every case of post-workout soreness you have ever felt. Here is the critical part. This disruption only occurs when you push the muscle hard enough to exceed its structural tolerance. Stay below that threshold on every set, and the sarcomers stay intact. Intact tissue means the body can repeat the session the next day. That threshold, not willpower, not recovery supplements, is what separates 200 push-ups a day from 1 chest day per week. Principle 1. Train the nervous system, not the tissue. Most people confuse muscular strength with neural efficiency. They are not the same thing. A muscle can only express as much force as the nervous system is willing to release. Tsatsouline, a conditioning coach who has trained U.S. Navy SEALs, Marines, and Army Special Forces, built an entire training philosophy around this distinction. His concept, widely used in BUD/S preparation, is called greasing the groove. At San Clemente Island, SEAL candidates were required to perform 15 pull-ups every time they entered the chow hall. 3 times a day, every day. Never to failure. Never sloppy. Never when already fatigued. The result was not exhaustion. It was precision. At BUD/S in Coronado, the instructors ran a refined system built to produce operators ready at any moment. Pull-ups between evolutions, push-ups in the sand, reps done often, never sloppy, never to failure. Tsatsouline emphasizes that strength is not just about muscles. It is about the nervous system's ability to fire muscles efficiently. The movement becomes neurologically automatic, and an automatic movement requires far less recovery than a movement the body is still figuring out. Principle 2. The submaximal rule. Here is the number that changes everything: 40%. Every working set ends at 40% of your current clean maximum. If your clean maximum is 25 push-ups, your sets are 10, not 12, not 15 because you feel good, 10. This keeps every set structurally beneath the sarcomere disruption threshold. The nervous system gets the signal. The tissue absorbs zero damage. Here is what happens next. Within 4 to 6 weeks, your clean maximum climbs. Your 25 becomes 35. Your 40% sets move up accordingly. The ceiling rises without inflammation, pulling it back down after every session. Training frequency did the work that failed attempts at intensity could not. Greg Nuckols, 2020, reported, based on a review of multiple controlled studies by Stronger by Science, that higher training frequencies resulted in approximately 20 to 23% faster strength gains compared to lower training frequencies when total weekly training volume was matched. The variable was not load. It was how often the signal was delivered. Principle 3. Spread the volume. Here is the mistake most people make when they hear train more often. They add sessions. They go from 3 days to 5. Each session still driven toward failure. That is not frequency training. That is accumulated damage with extra steps. The actual principle is distribution. Instead of one large session that breaks the system, you divide the same total volume across the entire day. 10 push-ups every hour you're awake. That is 100 reps in a 10-hour window. No single set pushes past the damage threshold. No single set requires a recovery window. The nervous system receives a consistent signal throughout the day instead of one catastrophic overload. It then spends 3 days repairing. Greasing the groove works because it provides enough quality practice in a way that does not generate as much fatigue. This allows athletes to practice activities they want to improve more frequently. That is the architecture, not a brutal session, a precise one. Principle 4. Breath as a physiological tool. This is the part that never makes it into mainstream fitness content. Most people breathe reactively during exercise. Chest heaving, rhythm breaking down around rep 8. That uncontrolled breathing pattern is a cortisol accelerant. Your stress level is rising. Each chaotic breath tells the autonomic nervous system the situation is out of control. More cortisol per session means more systemic inflammation. More inflammation extends the recovery window between sessions. The fix is simple, and it costs nothing. Every rep is a complete respiratory event. Before the descent, inhale fully. Brace the abdomen. Drive up. Exhale completely at the top. Ma et al. Demonstrated in 2017 in Frontiers in Psychology that a diaphragmatic breathing intervention group showed a statistically significant decrease in salivary cortisol concentration after 8 weeks of training. Less cortisol, less inflammation, shorter gap between sessions. This is not a breathing technique added onto your training. It is a recovery decision made once per repetition. 40 reps, 40 decisions. Each one marginally reducing the physiological cost of the session. Stack that across weeks, and the cumulative effect on recovery time is measurable. Principle 5. Isometric pre-activation. No equipment, no time, no excuse not to use it. Between your distributed sessions throughout the day, spend 60 seconds doing the following. Stand. Close your hands into a tight grip. Contract every major muscle group simultaneously. Legs, core, chest, back, everything. Hold for 30 to 60 seconds without moving. Release. This technique is called isometric pre-activation. It increases the nervous system's ability to recruit motor units on demand without producing any eccentric loading on the tissue. No descending phase, no sarcomere disruption, no recovery cost. Just the nervous system rehearsing full body tension so that the next push-up session starts from a higher baseline of motor unit engagement. The fitness industry has no product to sell around this, which is precisely why it has never been explained to you. Here is the single principle behind everything you just heard. The body does not require destruction to adapt. It requires signal, clean signal, frequent signal, delivered below the threshold where structural damage begins. BUD/S candidates did not achieve extraordinary push-up capacity by grinding through soreness. They achieved it through a training architecture designed to keep the tissue operational every single day. 5 principles, each one compounding with the others. Train the nervous system rather than the tissue. Work at 40% of your maximum on every set. Distribute volume across the day instead of concentrating it. Breathe deliberately on every single rep to manage the cortisol response. Add isometric tension between sessions to deepen motor recruitment for free. Start today with one thing. Set a timer for every hour you are awake. When it goes off, 10 push-ups. Controlled, clean form, well inside your maximum. Not impressive, not dramatic. But by the end of next week, something will have shifted in how that movement feels. That shift is neurological efficiency accumulating below the surface, and it does not require you to be sore to prove it is working. One question before you move on. How much training time have you spent recovering from damage you were told was necessary? Leave it in the comments. You now have a different model to work from.